Howdy guys, it's Joe here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the number one mistake that I feel like I see all over the place, and especially in Platinum and in Diamond, that might be holding you back, and this can apply to the majority of ranks. Now, before we get started, I do want to say that this does affect me a lot. I do have some problems with this, and it probably does affect you as well. And if you're a player that hates being criticized for your play, and you don't want to hear anything like that, just leave. If you're going to get angry from that, just leave, because you aren't going to learn anything. This isn't like an exact tip video on how to make your exact character, that being Trace or someone, better with this exact tip. No, this is very generalized, and if you don't want to hear that, well, I guess you don't want to hear that. But if you do want to hear that, and if you do want to improve, and if you do want to kind of get exposed a little bit about one thing that you might be doing that is very problematic in a lot of ranks, then here we go with it. And that one thing that I feel like is the number one most important thing that people do make mistakes with, including myself greatly, is thinking that you know everything. Or more realistically, thinking that you know a lot more than you actually know. Now, let me put this into context. A lot of times you might think that since you have 10,000 hours as your character, more likely 100 or 1,000 hours as your character, you should know every single thing with them. You have a lot of time and you're doing great with them. The problem comes when you have all this time with your character and you're still stuck where you are, while somebody else with maybe 50 hours on their character, which we see a lot of Grandmaster and top 500 players do, they happen to be all the way where they are with barely any time on them. What's the difference? And what can you use with that difference? Well, I feel like it's just knowledge and knowing how to play the game, being taught what to do, and sometimes just simply practicing by yourself without having other people help you isn't going to 100% make you learn what to do in every situation and really going to tell you exactly how to play your character in the best way possible. A lot of the times just hearing from someone better than you how to improve, having someone better than you critique you, or watching someone that's better than you, it can help you learn a lot and add a lot to your gameplay. And you have to be willing to look at this and say, I'm maybe not as good as this. Or you might have to look at their gameplay and see, what are they doing differently than me? I might be doing something that in my head is the perfect strategy to do and seems to be working a decent amount of time in my games and in my head. See what they're doing and see how it's working for them. And if it seems to be working really, really well, maybe try that out. A lot of the times the strategies that you get in your own head and I get in my own head might seem really, really good, and they might seem even amazing, and you put in a lot of time, so you should know what's going on, you should know what's best about that character, but that isn't how it always works. Even with me, I've played Zarya for not way too many hours, and I can climb with her a lot faster than I can with somebody like Hanzo or someone like McCree, simply because I just know a lot more about her, because I've watched more stuff about her, and I just kind of have learned a lot more about the character in order to play her a lot better, even though I might not have nearly as much time. I've got all the way to the Masters with that pretty quickly. I feel like that's something that really does make a big mistake as this character, or as whoever you're playing. As well with that, I feel like a mistake that does kind of correspond with this is you thinking that you have to perfect yourself in order to climb. In all my top 500 videos, I see people saying all the time, well, this player should not deserve top 500 or Grandmaster because of X or because of Y. In the newest Bastion video, someone says this person is not even close to deserve Grandmaster because they can't hit every single fly shot on Bastion in his ultimate versus Pharah's or versus Mercy's, which are really hard to do, and it's really kind of unconceivable and unreliable to do that in the first place. But some people complain about that, and some people think that you have to be a lot better than you actually are in order to climb. People think that you have to be 100% perfect in order to climb in a lot of situations. I see people in McCree videos, you miss a few shots, you are utter garbage. Well, if you actually watch a lot of pros, while they hit the majority of their shots, they still miss them, and they often don't get headshots on every single bullet. You have to think to yourself, how can I improve myself without being so worried about 100% perfecting yourself? As if you're so worried about perfecting yourself, you're not going to really improve. You're just going to kind of get angry at yourself, you're going to complain to yourself, and you're not going to get better. Just think about how you can improve from the day-to-day basics, from the game-to-game basics, and that will help yourself perfect yourself over time instead of just pissing yourself off and making so that you actually don't play the game and so that you don't actually, get better at the character. And the final thing that I feel like as well does correlate to this massively is thinking that you need 1 billion hours as your character or just to play them a ton to learn a lot from the character, which does correspond a lot to earlier. I feel like a lot of people have this misconception where if you just play a character a lot, you are automatically a god at that character. And while it won't say that playing a character a lot won't help you, as it definitely will, it won't always make you the best person in the entire world as that character. Especially if you're just playing them without thinking about what you're really doing. you have to be really purposely thinking about what you're doing, purposely thinking about how you're improving, purposely thinking about your mistakes, maybe writing them down, getting them in your brain, anything like that. But if you're just playing a character and you're not really thinking about it, you're pretty much just autopiloting, even 50% of the time, and you're wondering why you're not improving, even with all this time, it should be pretty obvious to you now. Of course, it is kind of hard to think about. Of course, it is kind of something that you don't want to think about, because you don't always want to have to play 1,000 hours on a character 100% trying. But if you want to improve, you do have to play some hours, but maybe not even as much. If you play maybe even half as many hours with just trying to improve the entire time compared to only sometimes trying to improve, I feel like you're going to improve a lot faster overall. And we see this with a lot of the players that are very, very good. Just putting more of your effort into a character matters a lot more than just putting more of your time into a character. While both do benefit you, I feel like effort does massively outweigh time. And those are the majority of the things that I feel like can keep you in Platinum. They're very basic, but they're things that I see over and over and over and over again. And no matter how many times I talk about it, I feel like I'm just going to keep seeing these complaints, keep seeing these things about people. And I don't think it'll ever be fixed. But hopefully you can at least fix yourself. And I've just been trying to fix myself really for as long as I can. Of course, I still do make a ton of these mistakes, so I am not above this at all. I feel like this corresponds to me as well as it does to everybody else. But if you've been wondering why you're stuck in Plat or any other rank, there you go. That's at least my own personal #1 reason. You might have your own, or you might have someone else that has their own, but that's at least what I personally think. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below what your own experiences have been while climbing, and see if maybe you've done any of these mistakes that you could maybe fix. It's not way too hard to fix. It does take a lot of mental effort, a lot of studying and stuff like that, but you can improve, though. But I want to hear what you guys have been doing with that. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day.